まもなく式典が始まります。式典の順序について皆様にお知らせいたします。式典は原爆死没者名簿奉納、式辞、献花、黙祷、平和宣言、報給、平和への誓い、来賓挨拶、広島平和の歌合唱以上の順に行います。なお、式典の開始前に原爆犠牲者の方々に対します懸垂を行います。
The ceremony will begin shortly and will proceed as follows. Dedication of the Register of the Atomic Bomb Victims. Address. Dedication of wreath. Silent prayer. Peace declaration. Release of doves. Commitment to peace. Messages from distinguished guests. Hiroshima Peace Song. Before the ceremony starts, a ritual offering of water will be held at the cenotaph to comfort the souls of the atomic bomb victims.
ただいま行っておりますのは原爆犠牲者の方々に対します懸垂でございます。
The ritual offering of water is now being performed at the cenotaph to comfort the souls of the atomic bomb victims.
79年前のこの日、炎の中で水を求めながら亡くなられた方々のために市内17カ所から集めた聖水を捧げております。
In this ritual, pure water collected from 17 locations in the city is solemnly offered to the victims who died in the flames while seeking water on this day 79 years ago.
定刻となりました。
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the scheduled time. We will now commence the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Ceremony. The register of the names of the fallen atomic bomb victims will be dedicated by the mayor of Hiroshima City and representatives of the bereaved families. The register now being dedicated contains 5,079 names of the atomic bomb sufferers who died over the past year, making the total number of atomic bomb victims and sufferers who died in subsequent years 334,306. Address by the chairperson of Hiroshima City Council. Address. Today, we are joined by Prime Minister Kishida Fumio, distinguished guests, hibakusha, and bereaved families, as well as citizens from Japan and around the world at the Peace Memorial Ceremony to pay our deepest respects to the many souls of the victims of the atomic bombing. 79 years ago, on August 6th, the hibakusha experienced horrors too difficult to put into words. Under the banner of their fervent plea that no one else should ever suffer as we have, they have continued to convey the realities of the atomic bombing. Despite this, tensions are now on the rise across the globe today due to the real threat of nuclear weapons use, such as the continued nuclear intimidation used in the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the continued enhancement of nuclear forces by countries in the name of strengthening their security frameworks. The preamble of the Japanese Constitution states we recognize that all peoples of the world have the right to live in peace, free from fear and want. Today, the majority of people in this country are of the post-war generation. What is it that this generation must do? We must face the fact that peace is in danger because of the tyranny of nations that focus solely on their own country while ignoring others. We must also move forward in solidarity and with conviction so that everyone in the world, regardless of who they are, can enjoy peace. The G7 Hiroshima summit held in May last year was a summit of huge historical significance. World leaders gathered in the atomic-bombed city and learned of the realities of the bombing by speaking to Hibakusha. It was during this summit that the G7 Hiroshima leaders' vision on nuclear disarmament, an independent document, was released to the world, sharing the sentiment that we must not neglect peace. It is imperative that international society once again reflect upon the significance of this summit and ensure that it leads to concrete actions for a world without wars and nuclear weapons. To this end, I believe that the role that the atomic-bombed city of Hiroshima must play will only grow larger. We hereby reaffirm our pledge to continue to be future-oriented and to do all in our power for the realization of the abolition of nuclear weapons and of lasting world peace by joining hands with those who desire peace. In closing, we offer our prayers for the peaceful repose of the souls lost in the atomic bombing. We sincerely hope that the Hibakusha, who still suffer from the after effects, will receive strengthened comprehensive care and support from the national government. August 6, 2024, Motani Tatsunori, Chairperson of Hiroshima City Council.
Dedication of flowers, Mayor of Hiroshima City, Chairman of the Hiroshima City Council. Representatives of the bereaved families, children's representatives. Representatives of the atomic bomb survivors. Prime Minister of Japan. Speaker of the House of Representatives. Speaker of the House of Councilors. Minister of Foreign Affairs. Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare. Minister of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism. Governor of Hiroshima Prefecture, Chairman of the Hiroshima Prefectural Assembly. Representatives of Nagasaki citizens. Secretary General of the United Nations, representatives of foreign guests, Next, the dedication of flowers by the representatives of Hiroshima citizens. The clock will soon strike 8:15. With the toll of the bell, for the repose of the soul of the atomic bomb victims and for realization of lasting world peace, let us offer 1 minute of silent prayer. Everyone, please rise. Silent prayer. End of silent prayer. Please be seated.
Peace declaration by the mayor of Hiroshima City. Peace declaration. Citizens of the world, what do you think? Are more powerful nuclear forces necessary for national security? What about arms races competing to maintain superiority over other nations? Russia's protracted invasion of Ukraine and the worsening situation between Israel and Palestine are claiming the lives of countless innocent people, shattering normal life. It seems to me that these global tragedies are deepening distrust and fear among nations, reinforcing the public assumption that to solve international problems, we have to rely on military force, which we should be rejecting. Given such circumstances, how can nations offer safety and security to their people? Is that not impossible? Through the pillars under the Peace Memorial Museum, we can see the cenotaph for the A-bomb victims. Anyone praying at the cenotaph can look straight through it to the atomic bomb dome. Peace Memorial Park, with these structures on its north-south axis, was built in accordance with the Hiroshima Peace Memorial City Construction Law enacted 75 years ago today. Built by the people of Hiroshima and many other seekers of peace, it has become a place to memorialize the victims and to think, talk, and make promises to each other about peace. If, after the war, Japan had abandoned our peace constitution and focused on rebuilding our military, the city of peace Hiroshima is today would not exist. Standing here, we can all feel our predecessors' determination to eliminate the scourge of war, trusting in the justice and faith of peace-loving people around the world. Expressing that determination, one hibakusha continually communicated the spirit of Hiroshima. Now is the time to turn the tide of history, to get beyond the hatreds of the past, uniting beyond differences of race and nationality, to turn distrust into trust, hatred into reconciliation, and conflict into harmony. This uplifting sentiment was written by a man who, as a 14-year-old boy, saw scenes from a living hell, a baby with skin peeled down to red flesh next to its mother, burnt from head to toe, and a corpse with its guts strewn out on the dirt. In 1989, a massive people's movement for democracy brought down the Berlin Wall, the predominant symbol of the Cold War. President Gorbachev expressed humanity's collective need for peace and his determination to stop the arms race, end nuclear terror, eradicate nuclear weapons, and relentlessly pursue political solutions to regional conflicts. He and President Reagan worked together through dialogue to bring the Cold War to an end, which led to the United States and the Soviet Union concluding the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. They demonstrated that policymakers can overcome even critical situations through resolute commitment to dialogue. Let us not be resigned to pessimism about the chaotic world situation. Instead, let us be as determined as our forebears, and, united as one, with hope in our hearts, take collective action. Our unity will move leaders now relying on nuclear deterrence to shift their policies. We could make that happen. To extinguish the suspicion and doubt that create conflicts, civil society must foster a circle of trust through exchange and dialogue with consideration for others. We must spread beyond national borders the sense of safety we feel in our daily lives. The crucial step here is to share and empathize with the experiences and values of others through music, art, sport, and other interactions. Through such exchange, let us create a world in which we all share the culture of peace. In particular, I call on our youth, who will lead future generations, to visit Hiroshima and take into heart what they experience here, create a circle of friendship with people of all ages. I hope they will ponder what they can do now and act together to expand their circle of hope. The city of Hiroshima, working with Mayors for Peace, which now has more than 8,400 member cities in 166 countries and regions, will actively support community endeavors to raise peace consciousness. Last fiscal year, approximately 1.98 million people from around the world visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. This record number is evidence of unprecedented interest in the atomic-bombed city and a rise in peace consciousness. My hope is that all world leaders will visit Hiroshima, experience the will of civil society, gain a deeper understanding of the atomic bombing, and hold in their hearts the Hibakusha's plea, no one should ever suffer as we have. Then, while they are here, I hope they will, with iron resolve, issue a compelling call for the abolition of nuclear weapons. Twice in a row, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, Review Conference has failed to adopt the final document. These failures have revealed a harsh reality, namely the enormous differences among countries with respect to nuclear weapons. I hope the Japanese government, which has declared repeatedly that the NPT is the cornerstone of the international nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation regime, will exercise strong leadership, calling all countries to transcend their positions and engage in constructive dialogue towards a relationship of trust. Furthermore, I request that Japan, as a practical effort toward a nuclear weapon-free world, participate as an observer at the third meeting of state parties to the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons to be held in March next year. Subsequently, as soon as possible, Japan must become a party to the treaty. In addition, I demand that the Japanese government strengthen measures of support for the hibakusha, including those living outside Japan. Now that their average age has exceeded 85, the government must accept that they are still suffering the many adverse emotional and physical effects of radiation. Today, at the Peace Memorial Ceremony marking 79 years since the bombing, we offer our deepest condolences to the souls of the atomic bomb victims. Together with Nagasaki and like-minded people around the world, remembering once again the hibakusha's struggle, we pledge to make every effort to abolish nuclear weapons and light the way towards lasting world peace. Citizens of the world, let us all, with hope in our hearts, walk with Hiroshima towards tomorrow's peace. August 6, 2024, Matsui Kazumi, Mayor of the City of Hiroshima.
Commitment of Peace, Children's Representatives. Commitment to peace. Close your eyes and imagine a beautiful city of verdant green, a shopping street full of people, smiling faces across the town. Hiroshima 79 years ago was filled with people living colorful day-to-day lives, much like today. On 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, there was a great eardrum-splitting roar, and the vermilion cloud, tinged with black, rose into the sky. People and the plants alike were blackened in the blaze, and the city was drowned in the cries for help and in tears of despair. In the words of one hibakusha, Hiroshima on that day was hell on earth. The atomic bomb stole the color from their lives and turned Hiroshima into a world of ash gray. My great-grandmother was a hibakusha, but she never spoke of that day. Sorrowful memories, too painful to put into words, still continue to torment many of the hibakusha today, 79 years later. Even now, wars continue to plague the planet. Around the world, those who didn't want to die are dying. And people are losing loved ones who are supposed to be there with them day after day, much the same as it was 79 years ago. Is there really no other way? Peace will not come from prayers alone. It is up to us to protect our colorful day-to-day lives and then build peace. Listening carefully to others. Viewing differences as a good thing and reconsidering your perspective. Cooperating with friends to accomplish a goal. These are all steps that each of us can take toward peace. Now, it's the time for us to learn about and experience Hiroshima together. Visit the Peace Memorial Museum, listen to the words of the Hibakusha, and discuss the preciousness of peace and the importance of life with family and friends. Here, we take one step forward to world-changing peace. August 6, 2024. Children's representatives, Kato Akira, 6th-year Hiroshima City Gion Elementary School. Ishimaru Yuto, 6th-year Hiroshima City Yahata Higashi Elementary School. Addresses. Prime Minister of Japan. "79 years ago today, what is said to be more than 100,000 precious lives were lost as a result of the atomic bombing. The city was reduced to ashes. The people's dreams and bright futures were mercilessly robbed. Those who narrowly escaped death have suffered indescribable hardships. As Prime Minister, I respectfully offer my sincere condolences to the souls of the atomic bomb victims. And I extend my heartfelt sympathy to those who still suffer from the after effects. The calamities that struck Hiroshima and Nagasaki 79 years ago, and the suffering they inflicted on the people, must never be repeated. It is a mission of Japan as an only country to be suffered from atomic bombing, to pass on the reality of the atomic bombing to future generations, to firmly maintain the three non-nuclear principles, and to steadily build on our effort to realize a world without nuclear weapons. The deepening divide among countries over nuclear disarmament, nuclear threat by Russia, and other concerns, and making the situation surrounding nuclear disarmament increasingly severe. However, no matter how difficult the path to a world without nuclear weapons is, we cannot stop our progress toward that goal. To maintain and strengthen the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of the Nuclear Weapon (NPT) will advance realistic and practical initiatives under the Hiroshima Action Plan, and then lead the international community to gain the international momentum toward nuclear disarmament. In this regard, the world is now at a critical juncture where the trend of decreasing nuclear weapons could potentially reverse for the first time since the height of the Cold War. To prevent this to happen, it is important to promote a FMCT, a treaty to prohibit the production of fissile materials for nuclear weapons. And this year, Japan launched a framework of the FMCT frame with the participation of both nuclear weapon and non-nuclear weapon states. I myself will take the lead and proactively be engaged. Last May, at the G7 summit in Hiroshima, leaders and young people all around the world were encouraged to visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the site of the atomic bombings. Accurate understanding of the reality of the bombing is important as a fundamental basis for all efforts toward nuclear disarmament. As part of these initiatives, in December last year, the Youth Leader Fund for World Without Nuclear Weapons program, which was established by the United Nations with funding from the government of Japan, has begun. This year, through this program, future leaders from both nuclear weapon and non-nuclear weapon states will visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan is determined to continue making efforts together with Hibakusha and many others who wish for the realization of a world without nuclear weapons to pass on the sword of Hibakusha and the reality of the bombing to next generations. For the Hibakusha, we will take seriously their needs for support covering health, medicine, and welfare, and conduct screening to recognize atomic bomb-related illness as swiftly as possible. We will continue to stand by the Hibakusha advancing in age and promote comprehensive relief measures. Including here in Hiroshima, where prayers for eternal peace are never ending, I pledge again that Japan will make every effort to realize a world without nuclear weapons and of lasting peace. I wish to conclude my remarks by praying for the repose of the souls of all the victims of the atomic bombing and the inner peace of the bereaved families, the Hibakusha, and as well as today's attendees and the people of Hiroshima City. August 6, 2024. Kishida Fumio, Prime Minister of Japan.
Peace message by the governor of Hiroshima Prefecture. On this day, the 79th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, on behalf of people of Hiroshima Prefecture, I wish to offer my prayers for the souls of those who lost their lives in the atomic bombing. I would also like to extend my condolences to the bereaved families and my heartfelt sympathies to the hibakusha who even today suffer from the after effects of the bomb. The atomic bombing brought about unparalleled devastation. This historic fact pierces our hearts because of the testimonies of the hibakusha about the hellish anguish they had experienced. Even though it was unbearable for them to recall such memories, they have continued to describe the misery driven by aspiration that no one else should suffer it. At present, 79 years after the bombing, we are losing hibakusha one by one. To pass on their last words to the next generation, we take various initiatives. The other day, I had the opportunity to visit Aoya Kamijichi site in Tottori Prefecture, where remains of people in the Yayoi period in Japan's prehistoric age have been excavated. There, I saw arrowheads stuck in skulls and hip bones, illustrating the cruelty of battles. These wound marks made me ponder about the life of the people living in those days, which were not always peaceful. At present, we still see wars in various parts of the world. The strong defeat the weak are trampled down. In contemporary wars, men and women, young and old, are shot by bullets or torn into pieces by missiles rather than by arrowheads and swords. Great powers, which are expected to protect the international order established by the United Nations, overtly attempt to invade other countries by violating international laws and change the status quo by force. This is a reality that we have continued to see since the prehistoric age. In this context, so-called realists suggest a policy of force for force and a nuclear weapon for a nuclear weapon. However, they ignore another piece of reality, or the fact that once people invented a weapon, they used it without exception. Chemical weapons, for example, have continued to be used even though their use is banned. As long as nuclear weapons exist, they will surely be used again someday. We must become genuine realists. Nuclear weapons abolition is not an ideal to achieve far in the future. Instead, it is a pressing and real issue that we should engage in at this moment, since nuclear problems involve an imminent risk to human survival. Despite this fact, only limited resources are invested in initiatives of nuclear weapons abolition, including intellectual, human, and financial resources. On the other hand, in the single year of 2023, more than 14 trillion yen was invested in maintaining and increasing nuclear weapons and building related strategies. Moreover, tens of thousands of people were involved in such programs as consultants, members of military forces, and government scientists and engineers. To all in the world who can face reality, what we must do is to allocate much more resources to related initiatives to truly realize the total elimination of nuclear weapons. Please imagine, if we invest just 10% of the budget for maintaining and increasing nuclear weapons, that is 1.4 trillion yen, and thousands of specialists in the total elimination of nuclear weapons, this will surely make a major advancement towards nuclear weapons abolition. A researcher in Okinawa mentioned her own experience of burning her fingers by mistake, getting terrible blister which almost deformed her fingers. While in pain, she thought of the exceptional pain of the people who had been exposed to the radiation of the bombing and wondered if she had understood the magnitude of their pain correctly. Some hibakusha had blisters on their faces that made it impossible for them to be identified, and others wandered about with their eyeballs and guts popped out. Even when we were in serious burn, can we truly imagine the pain of the hibakusha? I cannot bear losing any more hibakusha who have tried to pass on their memories of pain and suffering to us, while humanity has remained unconcerned and silent about the existence of nuclear weapons. On this day, we must remember once again the following pledge: for we shall not repeat the evil. August 6th, 2024, Yuzaki Hidehiko, the governor of Hiroshima Prefecture.
Secretary General of the United Nations. I will read the Secretary General's message in Japanese on his behalf. The world joined together to mark the day that a nuclear weapon devastated this city, and we resolve to spare no effort to ensure the horror of that day and never repeat it. Indeed, this ceremony is a reminder that we must do even more to end the scourge of nuclear weapons once and for all. Nuclear weapons and the threat of their use are not confined to history books. They have once again appeared in the daily rhetoric of international relations. They represent a real and present danger that remains with us today. The message is clear. The lessons of Hiroshima, which once guided our collective efforts toward disarmament and peace, have been pushed aside. But here in Hiroshima, we are surrounded by true cost and the true folly of nuclear weapons. We see the memorials, we hear the wisdom of the hibakusha, and we can ensure that these annual services of the remembrance continue. Year after year, you, the people of Hiroshima, have continued your work to ensure that the nuclear weapons are never used again. Your dedication is truly inspirational and then guides our own efforts at the United Nations to keep alive the lessons of 1945. The lesson that any use of a nuclear weapon would have catastrophic humanitarian consequences. The lesson that the only path to eliminate threat posed by a nuclear weapon is to eliminate them altogether. The lesson that the use of nuclear weapons is unacceptable. The lesson that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. And the lesson that we need disarmament now. Since last year, global mistrust, division have only deepened. Too many are blind to the fact that we were lucky to end the Cold War without a nuclear war. We cannot press our luck again. Yet, some are recklessly rattling the nuclear saber once more. The world must stand together to condemn this unacceptable behavior. And we must find new solutions to bring disarmament to life. Next month's Summit of the Future will be a critical opportunity for governments to renew their commitment to multilateralism, sustainable development, and peace, and adopt an actionable and forward-looking pact for the future. Conflict prevention, disarmament, and a world free of nuclear weapons must be at the heart of these efforts. At every step, the United Nations will continue to stand with the people of Hiroshima and with the Hibakusha. We will never forget the lessons of 6 August 1945. No more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasaki's. August 6, 2024. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations.
That concludes the addresses. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in singing Hiroshima Peace Song while remaining seated.
Oh
これをもちまして広島市原爆死没者慰霊式並びに平和記念式を終わります。ただいまから来賓の方々が退場されます。ご参列の皆様はその場でお待ちくださいますようお願いいたします。
This concludes the Peace Memorial Ceremony. We ask that you please remain seated while our distinguished guests exit the grounds.
お待ちいただいているご参列の皆様にお知らせいたします。本日、平和記念資料館は午後9時まで延長して開館しております。非常に多くの方の来館が予想され、チケットの購入に長時間お並びいただく場合がございますので、この後入館を予定されている方は、ウェブチケットの利用をお勧めしております。詳しくはパンフレット裏表紙の案内をご覧ください。ご退場まで今しばらくその場でお待ちくださいますようお願いいたします。
May I have your attention, please? The Peace Memorial Museum will be open until 9 p.m. today. As the museum receives many visitors and you may have to wait in line for tickets, we strongly recommend that you purchase tickets online in advance. For more information, please see the back cover of the ceremony pamphlet. We ask that you please remain seated for a while. Thank you.
ただいまから車椅子席、身体障害者席の方に移動していただきます。ご参列の皆様は今しばらくその場でお待ちくださいますようお願いします。
Please remain seated while disabled participants exit the grounds. Thank you for your cooperation.
大変お待たせいたしました。ご参列の皆様にご退場のお知らせをいたします。ご退場は会場後方の平和記念資料館に向かって移動していただきますようお願いいたします。冷水用のコップはお持ち帰りいただくか、平和記念資料館下冷水サービスコーナーに用意しております回収袋にお入れください。なお、ご退場後に慰霊碑へ参拝される皆様は一旦会場後方の平和記念資料館に向かって移動していただき、中央参道から順序よく参拝されますようお願いいたします。参拝に際しては慰霊碑の柵から中に入らないようにしてください。皆様のご協力をお願いいたします。
Thank you very much for waiting. We ask all those who are leaving to exit from the Peace Memorial Museum side at the rear of the venue. Please take your cups home with you or put them in the bags in the area beneath the main building of the Peace Memorial Museum. If you would like to offer a prayer at the cenotaph, please walk back to the Peace Memorial Museum before proceeding down the center path. Please do not cross the fence surrounding the cenotaph. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated.
繰り返し皆様にお知らせいたします。ご退場は会場後方の平和記念資料館に向かって移動していただきますようお願いいたします。冷水用のコップはお持ち帰りいただくか、平和記念資料館下冷水サービスコーナーに用意しております回収袋にお入れください。なお、ご退場後に慰霊碑へ参拝される皆様は一旦会場後方の平和記念資料館に向かって移動していただき、中央参道から順序よく参拝されますようお願いいたします。参拝に際しては慰霊碑の柵から中に入らないようにしてください。皆様のご協力をお願いいたします。
May I have your attention, please? We ask all those who are leaving to exit from the Peace Memorial Museum side at the rear of the venue. Please take your cups home with you or put them in the bags in the area beneath the main building of the Peace Memorial Museum. If you would like to offer a prayer at the cenotaph, please walk back to the Peace Memorial Museum before proceeding down the center path. Please do not cross the fence surrounding the cenotaph. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated.
ご参列の皆様にお願いいたします。現在、会場内が大変混雑しております。移動やお帰りの際には十分お気をつけくださいますようお願いいたします。繰り返し皆様にお願いいたします。現在、会場内が大変混雑しております。移動やお帰りの際には十分お気をつけくださいますようお願いいたします。
May I have your attention, please? It is currently very crowded in the park. Please be careful when moving around or leaving the park. It is currently very crowded in the park. Please be careful when moving around or leaving the park. Thank you.
ご参列の皆様にお知らせいたします。本日は大変暑くなっております。平和記念資料館下におきまして、冷たい水やおしぼりの配布をしておりますので、ご利用ください。
May I have your attention, please? The weather this morning is very hot. Cold drinking water and wet towels are available in the area beneath the main building of the Peace Memorial Museum. Thank you.
ご参列の皆様にお知らせいたします。ただいま公園内国際会議場におきまして、平和文化イベント広島の心を世界にを開催しております。青少年による平和をテーマとした演劇や広島子ども平和の集い、原爆の絵画展、被爆体験講話などがございます。また広島で400年伝わる上田倉庫流のお茶席を設けております。詳しくはパンフレットに入れておりますチラシをご覧ください。また平和記念資料館は午後9時まで延長して開館しております。非常に多くの方に来館いただいており、チケットの購入に長時間お並びいただく場合がございますので、入館の際はウェブチケットの利用をお勧めしております。こちらも詳しくはパンフレット裏表紙の案内をご覧ください。
May I have your attention, please? The Peace Culture event, Sharing the Spirit of Hiroshima with the World, is being held at the International Conference Center in the park. There will be a peace-themed play by young people, a Hiroshima Children's Peace Assembly, an exhibition of A-bomb drawings, and A-bomb survivor testimonies, among other events. You can also take part in a Japanese tea ceremony conducted by the Ueda School, which has 400 years of history in Hiroshima. For more information, please see the events flyer in the ceremony pamphlet. The Peace Memorial Museum will be open until 9 p.m. today. As the museum receives many visitors and you may have to wait in line for tickets, we strongly recommend that you purchase tickets online in advance. For more information, please see the back cover of the ceremony pamphlet. Thank you.